I would like to introduce you guys to Dr. Justice. He's a vet. So he's the one that will be answering some of the questions right now up until we get the rest of the speakers onto the space. Good evening, Dr. Justice. Could you please tell the listeners about yourself and your knowledge or your contribution towards poultry farmers?
Oh, okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me tonight. Yes, I am a vet. My name's Justice Masilela. I'm a veterinarian. Um, I would like to classify myself as a production animal veterinarian. Production animal meaning all the meat or meat product producing animals. I would like to classify myself as the vet of those animals, which is farm animals. So yeah, I've got a consultancy by the name of Asante Veterinary Consultancy. What we do is we do quite a number of things, from consulting with farmers to helping farmers sort of have knowledge and skills, basic skills. So we do run a few trainings as per the need. And yeah, we then also, when there is, emergencies to be attended to, diseases to be diagnosed and treated, we are also there in our we cover that in our consultancy. Yes, we've been doing that for over 2 years, or close to 2 years now, since the consultancy started. And yeah, we've contributed. We actually are focusing on emerging farmers, and are passionate about emerging farmers. It's simply I because I myself am from a rural area in Pumalanga, down in Malelan. So I know how they tend to struggle with knowledge, skills. They tend to struggle with veterinary services. So I've structured my business such a way that they also are included in, in the food chain and in the industry. Because they rely on the government and what the government can offer, but we come in and bring in an alternative to say that, we can equip you to at least understand what you can do to prevent, what you can do to detect, the disease presence in your farm, and what you can do to, try and deal with the presence of a disease in your farm, and when to call a vet, and when, to try, using the resources at your disposal, because there is resources at your disposal that you can use, and there's preventative measures, and so we're making you aware of that and equipping you and showing you how. So yeah, that's our contribution. We aim at reaching the whole country. We are working on a platform that we can be able to consult everywhere. As soon as the platform is ready, I will let everyone know. That platform will allow us to guide you, whether you are in Eastern Cape, KZN, Northwest, because now we are limited, because we can only do phone calls and WhatsApp, and only reach farmers that we can be able to reach. But we are hoping and are working on a platform that we can use to help everyone and contribute even on a bigger scale. That's us in a nutshell. Thank you.
It's great that you would mention that, Dr. Justice, because a few days ago, one of my layers died, and I did what I could, which is minimal, to check if I would know what the cause may be. And I actually thought to myself, I wonder if Dr. Justice would actually give me a service via WhatsApp, a video call, because I'm an emerging farmer. I can't expect you to drive all the way to come to my farm outside Middleburg to come check one chicken. So it's great that you're mentioning that you actually have um a way to do things like that via WhatsApp, and now you're implementing an even bigger way or better way of doing that. So I think what I would like to start with is, because I think last time we covered a lot of broiler diseases. So what I would like for us to start with would be layer diseases it's gonna be brief and short because I know that a lot of people are actually doing broilers. But I experienced vent prolapse, and I was just wondering if that is a disease or it's something that I can control. What are the causes of that?
Okay, sorry, I was talking there while my okay. Maybe to begin my talk, um, I would like to maybe start off vaguely and get to maybe the specific diseases as we go on. But I think what I have realized in my consultancy life or in working with emerging farmers is that, I mean, most of the time the important thing is for a farmer to understand what can they do to prevent. Um, that is, what measures can be put in place to avoid the occurrence. And secondly, is what can a farmer, how can a farmer note a problem? What are the signs that that the farmer can look at to identify if there is a presence of a problem or presence of a disease in their farm? Now, and then the third part would be, what can a farmer do, you know, to sort of deal with the problem that is now at the farm, which is, in this case, it's a disease. Um, Prevention is always better than cure, and I'm gonna touch these three things vaguely, so because I've understood one thing with farmers. Sometimes it's a waste of time on my side to go deep in a disease or in one, because there's only as much, I mean, a limited of things that a farmer can do, but in that limited resources, a farmer can be able to actually do something. So the important thing is to know how can you prevent the presence of the disease in your layer production. And I'm gonna start with something simple. You are getting, you're gonna get your stock 17 months, 16 months, 18 months at point of lay. It is important to get your layers from a reliable source. A reliable source is somebody that is clued up in what they are doing. They know that there is what we call vaccination. The layers were fed well, so they're in good condition. Because good condition also means good immunity. Condition and immunity are directly linked. So if you're receiving stock that is not vaccinated, that is not in good condition, one, your production is going to be bad, and the chances are you won't reach maximum production in from the stock that you've received. Two, because of the stress from receiving less food, they're probably immune compromised, and because poor body condition and immune compromising and immune compromisation, two things that goes together. So you find that they've got immune compression, and already that is, you're setting yourself for failure there. You're getting stock that is not vaccinated, you know all of those things. You are so getting your stock from a reliable source is one of the important things to have in your farm. Another thing is making sure the stock is vaccinated, or implementing a vaccination program in your farming enterprise. That's another preventative measure. I know we all know about it, but it is very important because it is cheaper to prevent a disease occurrence than to deal with a disease occurrence. Sometimes it can be 100% loss, um, whereas you could have used a few hundreds, a few thousands to ensure maximum production and have your profit at the end of the day. But if you fail to putting these preventative measures in place, which is vaccination and having a vaccination program, can lead to total loss and failure of your production system. Another thing, biosecurity. Biosecurity, one of the most important thing. It is part of biosecurity to get your stock from a reliable source. Knowing the type of disease that have occurred in whatever hatchery or whatever farm your supplier is, or wherever farm that your chickens will be coming from. It is important to understand how are things done in that farm, what is the kind of food that is being fed, the vaccination schedule that is in place in that farm. How strict are they in their biosecurity? Are they following strict biosecurity measures? All of those things, they will help you, because now it's easy to just bring chickens that are sick, for instance. Some diseases, there is actually no clinical manifestations. You just see production losses, egg drop syndrome. You're just gonna see your chickens not reaching potential. Why? Because there is egg drop syndrome present in your flock that they were not vaccinated for. There's other diseases that we can mention, that can lead to production loss. Because we look at production loss from two different things in a layer. We look at production loss from egg production and from the loss of the chickens themselves. So sometimes you don't lose the chickens, but the production never gets to maximum production. So the chickens never reach their maximum potential. That is loss on your side, because your eggs is your revenue, and that's how you make your money. So if you don't get enough, you won't make enough. So those are things that getting your chickens from a reliable source, making sure they are vaccinated, good biosecurity where they come from, and from transportation to your farm, good biosecurity for measures followed. Getting to your farm, good biosecurity measures followed. The house is prepared. If there was a previous flock in your house, you have taken all the fecal content, you have cleaned, you have disinfected, you have left it open for it to dry up and be ready for the next flock that is coming in. That is very important. So those are the things, that preparing your house, disinfecting and cleaning your house before another flock comes in, or upon arrival. All of those things, making sure that the handling is as stress free as it can be. And from also the traveling as stress free as it can be. Getting to your farm, offloading, having them settling in as stress free or as minimal, having as stress as minimal as it can be, is very important, and it plays a huge role. Because when we're looking at disease, we're looking at immunity and the presence of the disease or the infection. If the immunity is strong, then even if a disease sometimes can be present within the vicinity, it won't be able to cause disease. Why? Because the immunity is strong. And stresses are one of the things that compromises immunity. So as part of your prevention method, you need to make sure that you limit stress as far as you can go. Now, arriving there, controlling excess is very important. Controlling access into your farm and out of your farm, very important. I saw a hand from Nick. I don't know if I'm allowed to take it, but I will probably take it after this. So controlling what goes in and what goes out of your farm is very important. Having simple sanitizing things on your way in, food baths, all of those things, very important. Spraying cars that goes in and out, very important. Making sure your farmers don't go to their friends in the next farm and then they come in and out as they please into your farm, very important. Washing farmers' clothes daily. They must have new clothes going in and out daily. Those are the important things that must be put in place. Not a farmer using one overall over 3 to a whole week, the same overall. They even go home with it and come back with it. So things like that are small, simple things, but they're very important and can help you prevent the occurrence of diseases in your farm. So yeah, vaccination, biosecurity, these are important to prevent the occurrence of your disease in your farm. Okay. I saw a hand there. I don't know if I'm allowed to take it.
I'm not seeing any speakers or requests at the moment. The people that were up as speakers were kicked out. They can try to come back
Okay.
while we continue.
Okay, no problem. All right. And then we've got disease, what we call disease detection. Sometimes even if you put the most strict preventative measure, you can still be hit by diseases in your farm. It is important to note a problem in your farm. It is very important to note a problem, because without you noting a problem, you can never be in a position to solve a problem. and a problem leads to losses, and losses leads to lower profit margins, and even losses for that matter. So now, coming to that, it is important to have records of the amount of chickens that came in, what you are losing per day, and your production. Because, as I said, some diseases won't necessarily cause clinical manifestations. They will sometimes just decrease production. So it is important to have records, so that when production starts going down, you are able to note it. You must know your daily production in your farm, so that when production starts going down, and it goes down significantly, you are in a position to note that. You must know the normal behavior of your chickens, when you walk in, when you walk out, when food comes in, all of those things. Sorry, they are very important for you to note. So you must know the production, and you must know the behavior. Now you start seeing a chicken that is dull, depressed, seems to be in its corner. Others, when food is coming in, others are there eating. It is not eating. You know, you start noticing a drop of production significantly. They were producing, let's say, 150. All of a sudden, and they were consistently around 150. Maybe sometimes they were 145, sometimes 155. Around that range, and all of a sudden they are at 120. 115. Those are significant drops. That So you must know the pattern, the production pattern of of your stock, and you must know the behavior of your stock. When you walk in, look at the cages. How are they? Bright, alert, and responsive? When food comes in, is everyone eating? All of those things. How are the feces, the fecal, consistency? Is it normal looking? What is the color? All of those things. So you must be able to, yeah, to note a problem in your farm, from production to clinical signs. When you see them, all of those things, they are dying, but what's the rate of death that is there? Because yes, if you bring, we do expect at least about over around 5% death rate over the whole cycle. But then now, how much are you losing per day? If you project the loss per day to the full cycle, how much would have lost at the end of the cycle? That is very important. What's the percentage there? If the percentage is above 5, above 10, even worse, then there's things that you must now start noticing, and try and mitigate further losses, by coming in and trying to solve the problems. So yeah, those are ways that we can try and note a problem in our farm, knowing our chickens and knowing our production patterns. Okay, now, how do we treat the occurrence of a problem? One thing is to try and find out what could be the possible problem. Are they sick? Is it a disease problem? And are they all sick at once? Is the drop on all and the whole house, or is the drop on a not really on a whole house, but you can see, it's just as a minor drop, not like the whole house 50% drop? Then you must start investigating what could cause a whole house drop. Is it because that indicates maybe the food, that indicates maybe the water, maybe that indicates your management in your farm. How's your management in the farm? Is there enough ventilation? Are these chickens all stressed that their production is compromised? Is the lighting? What is the lighting patterns? Are you having uniform lighting, or you are having inconsistency in your lighting? So investigate all of those things. Investigate all of those things. I mean, are your farmers enforcing the pipe? Because you must also investigate the farm workers. Are the farm workers enforcing biosecurity measures? Are they bathing their feet going in and out? Are they having new overalls each day? How are they handling the animals? In their handling of the animals, are they not causing stress? Are they feeding enough? And is what then we move is the feed of good quality. Test the feed. If you have to take it to the lab, let it get tested. Take your water to the lab, let it get tested. Is there something that might be in the water? Is there something that might be in the feed? How's my management? All of these things, because opportunists, bacteria like E. coli and the likes of salmonella. The likes of E. coli are in the environment. It's only when chickens are stressed and immunocompromised that you will see them starting to manifest in your farm. So all of those things are things that you must be alert of. When you see, E. coli increasing, unless the source is the water or the feed, then you see diarrhea and deaths in high numbers in your. But if you see, chickens here and there, dying, a bit of a drop in investigate what is happening, in your farm, and be in a position to determine, can you go in and use antibiotic? Is it something that needs antibiotic? Is it the presence of an infection? You go in with, you try and have the antibiotics that you can get, on the market. There is antibiotics that you guys are able to get, but there is antibiotics also that you need prescription. And for a vet to offer prescription, they also need to check the farm, check the chickens, and determine if there is a need for that, because those are strong drugs that must be used precautiously. So yeah, having a relationship with a vet is very important. It's very, very important. So yeah, you can buy the likes of, a lot of oxytetracycline, sulfonamides, that you are able to buy. The stuff are available, they're available online. There are, suppliers, wholesalers, like the likes of Midlands, that you can order online and have it delivered to either your house, or if your farm is within reach. So suppliers like that, establish a relationship with them, order things online, because sometimes you don't find, or contact, like us. We're able to sometimes, put in orders for you, order stuff for you, and send them through to your farm or to your house, and you'll be able to take it to your farm. So things like that can help you a great deal. Consult with your veterinarians, because sometimes it veterinarian, it needs someone. Sometimes it needs some testing, all of those things. Consult, have a relationship with a vet. Again, we're stressing that out, or a vet technician, or a veterinary profession. Just have a relationship with someone that can help you in that regard. Sometimes that can help you with, someone in fit, that has done, some nutrition, that can help you in that regard. It is very, very important, and to your advantage. Okay, I think those are the things that I wanted to touch, um, before we go into other things. Um, you sent vent prolapse is occurs quite often. It is something that especially in layers. It is a layer thing. Sometimes it's simply caused by, um, the size of the egg that is produced. Some layers are bullies, and they eat more than others, and they tend to produce extraordinary big, um, extraordinary big eggs. And because of that, they bring up problems to you, to your farm. But sometimes it is sometimes an issue of, multivitamins, the lack of some vitamins and minerals. So boosting them with such things like that can also help. But I think the most important thing in your farm is to realize when there's a problem, and finding ways to solve the problem. Okay.
Okay, Doc, thanks for that. I think, I don't know, your network is a bit bad, but we can hear you. It just cracks here and there. Um, you mentioned the egg drop syndrome, and normal feed stores don't actually have the vaccine for the egg drop syndrome. Is that one of the vaccines that we would basically come to a vet to get, or are there any other stores that people can get that from?
Okay. For any vaccine, you actually don't need a vet to get vaccines. Vaccines should be readily available to you. Um, it is only, certain types of antibiotics that, are only available to us, because they must be used precautiously, and with expertise. And sometimes we are running away from abuse, because farmers do abuse some of the antibiotics, using antibiotics even when the problem is not an infection, just because they've got some antibiotics, there's some coliprim there, then they're gonna give coliprim for everything. So yeah, it's just that. But vaccines should be available for you as a farmer. You don't need a vet or a prescription to get a vaccine. So if it's not available, it means it's either the supply is limited, the supply and the production of the vaccine is limited, or you can only get it on from specific suppliers. And yeah, so I think it's probably that. But I can try and check for you if I can find where you can get it, or if I can be able to get it, and then we can see how we can send it through.
All right, thanks, Doc. That would actually be appreciated. I'm thinking the reason for that is that most people actually buy layers at point of lay when they've already been vaccinated. So that's probably why you can't get them at any random feed store. Um, so, Doc, I would like for you to please caution us on diseases that are more prevalent in winter in layers. I know that with broilers, we get ascites quite a lot because of the ventilation and day being shorter than night. So, are there any specific diseases that are more prevalent in layers? Because layers are to be kept for a longer period. So, we need to really just care for them.
Well, yeah. Um, you see, I will group these diseases because there's diseases that we what we call gastrointestinal diseases. Those are diseases that affect the stomach, intestine. You often they cause diarrhea, weakness, and all of that. Then there are diseases that are classified as respiratory diseases. Those are diseases that causes your like the likes of some coffee, nasal discharge, and all of that. So they are respiratory, more on the chest side of things, and the trachea and the nostrils and all of that. Um, what I can say in winter, uh, what happens in winter is that if temperatures are not controlled in your in your house, in your layer house, it compromises, it causes stress if temperatures are not, maybe the layers are too hot, or the layers are too cold in times of winter. What it does is it compromises the immunity of your layers. So when the immunity is compromised, any disease can simply gain strength and cause problems, ranging from, most likely it would be infectious things like your respiratory diseases, where you have got your what we call infectious bronchitis, infectious laryngotracheitis. So all of those things. But for me, I wouldn't say, as I said earlier, note when there's a problem. When you see nasal discharge, when you see your chicken have got ruffle feathers, they are dull, they are depressed. I mean, what could be the possible causes? Then you start checking biosecurity management. Is everything in place in terms of management? Is the temperature controlled? Is it too is it not too hot? Too hot? Is it not too cold? All of those things. So those are very, very important things in your in your farming enterprise. Not so much about what is the disease itself, but more on realizing when there is a disease in your farm and be in a position to try and deal with it, or to get the necessary help that you will need for that specific disease. So a cold weather means that a farmer must try and help produce as much heat in their layer house as possible. And that layer, I mean, controlling the diseases, or controlling, I mean, the temperature will then lead to minimal immune compromisation. And if there's minimal or no immune compromisation, then your chickens should not be in a position to get infection, but they should be in a position to resist infection. So So even the same thing that happens in winter happens when it's hot. I mean, when it's hot, then what happens is the immune of your layers or your broilers is compromised. And when the immune is compromised, any disease can find way into your into your farming enterprise or chickens or whatever, and cause problems. So the important thing is to limit stress as much as possible. Limit the possibility of a pathogen being introduced into your farm. That is your biosecurity, and then be able to a certain extent, be capacitated to a certain extent. Have your antibiotics, have your stress packs. All of those things. And stress pack is not only when they arrive. When they are stressed because of heat, stress you can when they are stressed because it's cold. You see, they are, all of those things. Stress pack can help in those aspects. It's for stress when they're stressed. But the most important thing is to remove the trigger, remove the source, of those things. If it's something that needs to be corrected in your management, correct that thing. If it's less food being given, correct that. If it's temperature, correct that. If it's ventilation, correct that. It doesn't help to try and come with your antibiotics, but you have not removed the cause of the problem. So remove the cause of the problem, and then you treat the consequences of the cause, which is probably the occurrence of the disease when you come with your antibiotics, and but dealing with the cause, the source is very important. So if the source is water, deal with the water. If the source is the feed, deal with the feed. If the source is ventilation, deal with ventilation. If the source is biosecurity, enforce good biosecurity measures. So let's understand the cause so that we may be able to deal with the consequences by removing the cause. I hope that makes sense.
Yes, it makes a lot of sense. Basically, what I'm picking up is that we need to be paying attention to our flock, so we can't send people to be the ones that are continuously taking care of our investment, because they might not even have the same eye as we have. Getting good employees is probably one of it's not an easy thing for farmers. So to be hands on as a farmer, as the saying goes, the best fertilizer of the land are the feet of the owner. So we have to be present in the raising of the chicks and in the whole process basically. So and basically everything is applying to layers and to broilers. I don't think what you said basically applies to both types of chickens.
Definitely, yes. And I think the most important thing when you're starting these things and as you grow is to make sure that you have employees that are informed. That's the most important thing, which is one of the services we offer to train you and your employees, to help you train your employees. What is biosecurity? What is normal behavior of a chicken? What is the abnormal behavior of a chicken? You know, how can you handle a chicken without causing stress, going in and out, doing your daily duties, cleaning and all of that. How can it be done the best possible way? So those are the things that we, because you need to have people that are clued up. Those, you will not be there the whole time. Those are the guys that must be your eyes and your ears. They must alarm you. They must indicate issues, and if they are not capacitated to indicate wrongs in your farm, to capacitate you, capacitated to notice changes, abnormalities, all of those things, then you are setting yourself for failure. But if you equip and invest in them, then you indirectly, are setting yourself up for success, because those are the guys that are actually running your farm. You are just managing them; they are managing the farm. So it is important to really, make sure that you've got people that are clued up.
Yes, definitely. I we're having a conversation today about that staff turnover, which is becoming a problem for us. We don't know what we're doing wrong, but we are going to investigate it so that if our employees don't last, then it means I'm continuously teaching, which means I can't really grow and I can't really be anywhere else but on the farm. Um, Doc, there diseases that are inborn within the chicken. So when the chicken comes to my farm, it already has diseases from parent stock?
Definitely, definitely. Um, there are what we call vertically transmitted diseases. Those are diseases that can come from, from the parents, usually the stock parents, to the young ones. Um, that's why again it raises the importance of knowing your source and having a source that is clued up, um, a source that takes care of the parent stock, and a source that takes care of your pullets, you know, that raises them accordingly, and that enforces vaccinations and all of those things. That does also what we call disease surveillance. That takes, samples from time to time, sending them to the lab to check is there presence of these diseases, all of those things. So it is that again stresses your supplier, the importance of having a reliable supplier. If I'm not mistaken, either infectious laryngotracheitis or infectious bronchitis, between the two, are able to be transmitted vertically from the mother to the young one. So that it is important. It is important to have a supplier that is clued up, a supplier that enforces strict biosecurity measures, a supplier that has a healthy stock and a parent stock. You know, because if you're having a parent stock that is sick, or there's someone that's dodged that won't tell you if there's a presence of disease in there, they will keep on selling you, the pullets, although the pullets are not in good condition. Those are important. Those are important things. But before the point of having the disease transferred from him, it's an important one from those that are breeding pullets, those that are having parent stock and are raising pullets to supply to farmers as on point layers. So that is important for you to have a healthy stock. Do disease surveillance. Check your disease, the important diseases, your anaplasmas, your infectious bronchitis, your infectious laryngotracheitis, all of those important diseases that can cause, losses to you and to the farmers. But if you are buying a point of lay, then you shouldn't be as worried about those that are transferred vertically or transovarial, as the term that we use, because by that time they must have been treated, or they must have shown signs. Those chicken must have shown signs by not growing accordingly. So you must also look at the uniformity of your flock when you receive your point of lay. Look at the uniformity, because sometimes they will mix good ones with bad ones. You know, those that are not growing accordingly, those that are sickly, being mixed with the healthy one. When from afar you just look at a flock that is healthy. Where else it's good to get an average weight. Get an average weight. See what is the average weight. Is the average weight the one that is required? If it's lower than the required, I mean, then you start worrying. You start worrying and checking. So uniformity when you receive your stock is very important. Again, I cannot stress enough the importance of getting reliable sources. And if you know that your source, is actually someone that's not clued up, it won't hurt for you to work with them. Make sure that they're raising stock for you that is reliable. Follow them through. Guys, are you applying your vaccinations? What are you feeding? How much are you feeding? How often are you feeding? All of those things. Are there any occurrences of diseases in your farm? Follow up these things. Check their records. All of those things. If you can get a health certificate, why not get a health certificate from them? All of those things. So yeah, if you are a breeder, I mean, if you are raising pullets and you are having a breeding stock, a parent stock, yes, be careful of the presence of diseases in your farmers. You will be putting your clients in huge danger if you yourself are not careful.
Thank you so much for that, Doc, because myself and a couple of farmers are venturing into parent stock. And I mean, raising normal broilers and normal layers is definitely not the same as raising um, parent stock. So we would like to do it to the T when we start doing it, because reputation is everything in this industry. Um, there is a person who, okay, before I ask this, I'm opening up the floor, guys, to any questions. We have 15 minutes. I'm opening up the floor. If you guys have any questions for the doctor, this is free information that you will never get again. So you guys can just request the mic so that you can ask the doctor yourself. Um, there's a person who was complaining about the presence of coccidosia in his flock. He's saying that he's constantly buying SB3 and anything that has sulfur. And I'm just wondering if coccidosia, is it inborn, or does it come from the farm? And if it comes from the farm, obviously then it means that there's something wrong that they're doing, or did they bring the disease before and they haven't let their houses rest enough? What could be the cause?
Are you talking about coccidia and coccidiosis?
Yes, that's the one, doc.
All right. Okay. Well, so a sulfonamide is actually a good treatment for coccidiosis and coccidia. Um, if you are having reoccurrence of the of coccidia in your farm, then now we are shifting from treating. Remember, I spoke about removing the cause, removing what the instigator of the problem. And I can tell you coccidiosis is a hygiene problem. It is a hygiene problem. When the house is not cleaned as frequent as as they can, you know when biosecurity measures are not enforced, all of those things, feed not checked, water not checked, house dirty, ventilation not proper. It is a management. It is a management disease. It is a hygiene disease. How they put it, it is a hygiene disease. So, how is the hygiene in their farm? Outside, inside and outside the layer house, how is the hygiene there? So now those are things that they need to start asking themselves, because once it's classified as a hygiene, it means a hygiene problems predisposes your chickens to it. And you can come in with a sulfonamide and even using bigger guns in terms of antibiotics, but if you don't deal with the instigator, if you don't deal with the cause and the source, then you even the antibiotics won't work for you. So let them check their hygiene. It is a hygiene problem, and see if they can sort that out, or if that is in place. Check their biosecurity. Is their biosecurity in place? And then we come back and have another conversation.
All right, thanks, doc. Good evening, Nompumelelo. The doc is listening.
Good evening, guys. The doc mentioned something about if the temperature fluctuates, then you can administer stress pack. If you're saying that, like, how do you know? Like for example, if maybe it was cold, it was warm throughout the day, and then it gets really cold, and maybe your heating is not so great, and you see that they're cold. Like after I've fixed the heating issue, do I then also administer the stress pack, or is it for specific situations where ngifaka le stress pack when I see that they're stressed? Like how do you really see with regards to the temperature if they're stressed or not? Thank you.
um Thank you for the question. Well, stress stress is caused by extreme conditions. That would be extreme heat, extreme cold. Yeah, when they are hot, they will be panting. That's when you see your chickens panting, it's a problem. Now, when it's cold, you will see them in a corner there trying to huddle together, or you'll see just one. They're not as active as they're supposed to be. They sometimes look a bit dull, not as hyper as you'd like them to be, not as hyper but normal hyper, and all of those things. Well, it's not every time that you experience and all of a sudden you go in stress pack every time, stress pack. No, sometimes just correct. It's good enough to just correct. If it's a temperature issue, to correct the temperature, that's good enough. You don't need stress pack. But if that thing was something that happened for quite a long time, and you see that if it's layers, it's even causing production losses, and you see that they are perfectly healthy, they're just stressed, because of something that had happened. There's a noise somewhere in the area, all of those things. They were called, you were away, and they were called the whole, things like that. But sometimes, removing the cause is enough. Sometimes removing just the cause is enough. You don't have to use stress pack every time when there is stress. But if there is like tense and severe stress, then you can now look into using stress pack. That's just to calm them down and make sure that their immune is not compromised because of the stress.
Okay, thank you.
There's another question that I got in the DMs. A farmer is suffering with her layers having swollen eyes, mostly in winter. What could be the cause of that?
Yes. Well, swollen eyes usually go with nasal discharge, and well, we all know coryza, infectious coryza. So, and then, but sometimes you find that there's a lot of things that cause swollen eyes in layers. Actually, it is the respiratory um class or group of diseases that usually cause a swollen head, a swollen eyes, nasal discharge, and all of those things. So as I said, one of the things that are caused by cold stress, you'll find respiratory issues in your farm, because we breathe the air, all of those things. And a lot of um bacteria do stay in your respiratory tract, and they are waiting for opportunities. When there's stress, sometimes they are the ones that usually just come in and be the first to cause problems. So infectious coryza is one of the culprits. Infectious bronchitis, infectious laryngotracheitis, all of that. Sometimes it's what we call mycoplasma. Mycoplasma does cause respiratory issues. Yeah, I know most of the time we go for coryza, and it's true that it's mostly infectious coryza, but there are other ones that cause similar symptoms. So it's the respiratory cause culprits that are usually a problem in such a situation. And your coliprim, your sulfazine, your it's just general broad spectrum antibiotics that you use there. Again, take away, remove the stressor, whatever stressor it is. If you need to control your temperatures, control your temperatures. Get some heat source, try and raise those low temperatures, because it's winter and all of those things. So yes, that's that.
Thanks, Doc. Um, Chekwane, good evening, sir. The doc is here for you.
Good evening, Mandy, and everyone else on the space. How are you guys?
We're good, thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity. I just want to ask the doc about the chickens when they drop in their head and also releasing their saliva. What could be the cause?
Okay. And greetings to you too, man. Well, you see, those are usually general signs of depression. Dull. Those are the things I was talking about. When your chickens are dull and depressed, sometimes it is saliva, but sometimes it's nasal discharge and all of those things. Usually, those are not specific signs, but they are a sign that there is a presence of something. Could be an infection, it could be another stressor, or whatever. But those are some of the signs that you see when your chickens have if there's an issue in your farm. You see them being dull, being depressed, nasal discharge, discharge from the eyes, swollen head, not eating, just there alone, all of those things that you walk in, it's not responsive, it's not bright, it's not alert, it's not responsive. Those are the signs that you can't really, they can't be specific to something, but they show that there is a problem that needs you to take further steps in trying to solve the problem or get the necessary help that you need. All right.
Okay, but then how do I take that step when I don't even understand or know what is the cause? Can one be the stress be caused by maybe the space of the coop whereby chicken are crowded, or maybe water in terms of whereby they don't really get necessarily clean water all the time, or what can be the causes?
Okay. Well, okay. Now that we as as farmers, we it is important that when we note a problem, we start investigation. Now, where do you start with your investigation? I mean, the things that are around. Is it overcrowded? Overcrowded where it is. Sometimes they lose the likes of your feathers. They lose feathers. They cannot reach water as they need. They cannot reach food. They are crowding each other when they're trying to reach out for food and all of those things. How are have a thermometer in your house? What is the temperature in your house? Um, and then from there, is it a a a group that is affected? Maybe one cage is affected, or is it a whole flock, all the flock? Because there's things that affect everyone in there, but there's things that are specific to some. Is it a flock problem? Is it an individual problem? If it's a flock problem, what can affect all the flock? They are all eating the same food. They are all drinking the same water. They are all exposed to the same environmental factors. Now we start investigating. How are the environmental factors? How is the food? Can you take the food for testing? Can you take the water for testing? If it's temperature issues, when I correct the temperature, does it solve the problem? All of those things you try and see and solve what you can solve. If you things like that, the adult depressed, it's possible there is an infection. Say if it's one or two or five, separate them into what we call a hospital seclusion or isolation. Treat them with your coliprem, treat them with whatever antibiotic you can get. Just treat them. Make sure that your dose is the right dose, and you treat them. If it's a 5-day treatment, make sure they receive the treatment for that 5 days, not only once, because sometimes we give them once and we think it's fine. And you don't have to give everyone, I mean, all the chickens medication if not all the chickens need the medication. Separate the ones that are sick. Try and treat them with whatever. If you feel like stress pack can work, give them stress pack. Maybe they were stressed, stressed by others, bullied by others. They were not reaching food, they were not reaching water as they needed. All of those things. If they're crowded, try and take down the numbers within that cage or in the whole house. All of those things. Those are things that you can try and look for problems. Once you see manifestations of abnormalities, look for problems. That's how you investigate for problems. What am I, even investigate yourself? What am I doing wrong as a farmer? Then investigate your house. What is it that is wrong in the house? My workers, what wrong is my workers doing? You start asking questions and try to answer the questions by yourself by taking samples, sending them to it's just something that you can develop yourself. When there's a problem, you see things like that, investigate, and start with what you must know the normal, to be able to pick up the abnormal. Know the normal temperature, know the normal ventilation, know the normal behavior, all of those things. So you must know the normal to be able to pick up the abnormality. And the type of abnormality, is it a disease indicating? Is it possibly a management indicating? Can it be the water? Can it be the food? Can it be my staff? All of those things. Okay.
Thank you, Doc.
All right. Thank you so much. Um, I couldn't agree more with you, Doc. It's very important for us to just check ourselves, check the environment of the chicken and everything that surrounds it. I mean, I have an example of a chicken that would hide its head under where it's supposed to be eating, under the feeders. And and I figured that it was being bullied, so I had to move it out of that cage and take it to another cage. That's when it became a happy chicken. But we can't really see those things if we don't investigate ourselves and actually keep ourselves in check, that we're doing everything the right way. We vaccinate, we sanitize our hands, we do foot baths. Our employees don't just have one overall, and I usually just prefer that a person actually leaves their overalls here and go back to their house with their clothes after they've washed their overall and hang it, because then we don't know where they are passing and what diseases they might come back with attached to those same clothes. So thank you so much, Doc. I think I am not seeing any more people asking questions in my DMs. I'm not seeing any more hands. I'm guessing people are covered. Their chickens are not sick. Everyone is fine. And I would just like for you to tell. I think there are people that joined a bit late, so you can just let them know where they can find you, how they can get in touch with your consultancy, so that they can invite you to their farms, or have you as their vet. Because I think um if you are anywhere close to Pretoria, we are going to be starting our parent stock project that side in August, and we're definitely going to need you to walk with us through that journey. So I will definitely keep in touch.
Okay. Oh, thank you. Yes, well, we are here on Twitter as a Sancho veterinary consultant, and as Dr. Justice Masilela, and we are also we have a website, asanteveterinaryconsultant.com. We are on Instagram at Asante Veterinary Consultants, and on Facebook as Asante Veterinary Consultant. So, and there's our contact details everywhere you go there, our phone numbers and our website and everywhere, so you can really get hold of us through, we are available on you can call us, and we can see if we can arrange a visit or anything in whatever way that we can try and help you. So yeah, reach out and let's help you. Help us to help you.
And you cover all livestock, right, Doc? And it's not just chickens.
Definitely, it's all livestock. We cover. As I said, I classify myself as a production animal vet. So, all the production animals, from cattle, sheep, goats, pigs, poultry, we cover them all.
Okay, amazing stuff. I just wanted to make sure that everyone, even the ones that joined late, are aware of that. Um, okay, we're having a request now. Chaff Tando. Good evening. Yes, you're audible.
Okay, thanks. I'm a little bit late. I just want to ask, so um, if we contact them as a consultant, it means we will have to pay, or they're working under government or something?
Yes, we there is a fee attached to the service. Well, we understand that we're dealing with farmers, and that are emerging, so we're dealing with emerging farmers. But as emerging farmers, you also know that certain things, we are affordable. I can tell you that we are not even close to commercial consultants. We try to find ways to help you affordably. If it means that we do a online consultancy, we or a WhatsApp video call or something like that, we take that out. We don't have to drive to your farm, because now, when we start driving to your farm, spending time in your farm, and that becomes costly, because that's our time, that you have to pay for. But yeah, we can find means to actually try and guide you with we can take a 2,000 or 3,000 consultancy down to just 500 from an online consultancy, a consultation that we can run and guide you, try to determine the problems. But yes, it's true that some problems we can be able to guide you online, but some problems they would need us to come to your farm, check the management, check the environment, check the farm, the house, because sometimes we cannot make sense, or some problems are suspicious of other problems that might be happening at the farm and the environment, even in the community. So some consultations will need to happen at the farm. But if it's something that we can guide you telephonically, if something that we can guide you over Google Meet, why can't we do that? We'll do that, and take a 2,000, 3,000 worth of a consultation to just a 500, online or telephonically.
Are you answered, Jaftando? Okay, I think we've lost him. Thank you so much for covering the cost, Doc, because I think there was a picture that was posted by one of the farmers that was showing how we would try to go to YouTube, Instagram, call someone, do whatever, everything, excluding actually going to the vet. So I think we really need to try and start to familiarize ourselves with a vet as farmers, because that is what is going to help us grow our businesses. YouTube and all these other places, and sugar and salt and in your chicken water. Guys, let's stop doing that. If we ought to have our businesses succeed, we need to treat them as such. Dr. Asante is here to make that happen and make it easier for us. Yes, Chekwane.
Oh yes, it's very a little bit slowly there. Yeah, I just wanted to agree with Doc on this one. When he says he will try to assist people where possible, either online or whichever way possible. I've been in contact with him before, yeah, and then he was able to assist me. I was supposed to collect medication from him, though I couldn't because I had to leave to the farm in the morning. So I spoke to him, however, to say, let me get it from the other side. But then he was able to speak to me and then to at least assess and try to find out what is the problem. So I'm just saying, yeah, I agree with him. He does that.
All right. Yeah. Thank you, guys. There you have it. Yes,
Just
Doc.
to also point it out, guys, be careful of. I know you guys do advise each other, but some of the advices that I've seen online on Facebook, it's crap. It's just nonsense, guys. So be careful of the information. All these things that they're referring you, there is good advices that you can get there. I don't know which sites and all of that, but just be careful. That's why in us giving you the online platforms and trying to reach out to you is to ensure that you're speaking to a professional, as someone that is clued up with the problems you might be facing, and someone that will advise you to the best of their expertise. And that's why even the platform that we are trying to create online, it is a platform that will have expertise trying to help you as a farmer at a cost effective way. I will announce it once it's active, but it's something that is coming, and in the meantime, set up your appointments, whether it be on Google Meet, whether it be a phone call appointments. I do phone call appointments, and I guide farmers over the phone. Just send me that you like to consult online or over the phone, and then we'll set up a time, because I can be busy, but I will make time to at least talk to you. Sometimes it can be after hours. If I'm busy during hours, I don't mind, but we will try and make time so that we cover you up. Yeah. So that's just that.
Okay, Doc, just one more question that I got in the DMs, and then you can, after answering that question, you can just do your closing remarks. Someone is asking if there is a specific vaccination program that we need to follow, or can a person implement their own or get one from Google? Actually, Dr. Google is a problem. That's why we run away from you. We start on Dr. Google before we come to you. But is there a vaccination program that is strictly available to be followed, especially with layers?
Well, yes, definitely there is a vaccination schedule that farmers can follow. One that probably in designing it will make sure that it covers at least the most important diseases that you need to cover. That will, if they do occur, that will cause severe losses to you. And a one that also covers diseases that are prevalent in the area where you are, and yeah, of economic importance and prevalent in the area. I think those are the two guidance that we use in determining one. But also you do get general ones where they usually just cover the important diseases, of which you can, if you see it fit for you. But yeah, be careful with information you get online. Yeah, just try and sieve it, and try and prove it and see if it's supported elsewhere, things like that. So yeah, thank you guys for again for inviting me. It's a great pleasure to come in when needed and to help where we can. We're looking forward to building relationships with each and every one of you here, and helping where we can, guiding where we can. Just be there for you. I know emerging farmers, it's difficult out there to fully emerge, but you can do much better with the resources that are already limited, with the guidance that we can offer out there. So we try and set you up for success, especially with diseases related and primary animal healthcare related issues. All right, thank you very much, guys. Do reach out. Let's set those appointments. Let's talk. Let's guide you. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Doc, for making the time as always. It's not every day that it becomes so easy to have access to a vet for free, to give us free information. So we really appreciate you. And please don't forget, I would like the egg drop vaccine and Marek's disease, because I don't know if it's prevalent in Pretoria, but I would like to know where I can access it, if you can get it from me and I buy it from you, or whatever the case may be.
Great stuff. I have noted that down. I'll try and see if I can help you there.
All right, thank you. Thank you guys for joining the space. As always, it was amazing, very informative. I'm so grateful that the dog could make it out, because we lost our two speakers to load shedding. It's back again, guys. 7 to 9, specifically during our time, they were having load shedding. But nevertheless, we were educated. We got all the information that we needed. And I think I myself have learned a lot. And really, we cannot be found sleeping when we're trying to grow this business. It's very easy to lose when you could have actually saved if you had been more careful. Follow strict measures on running your business. So let's just not be left with our gut down, guys. Let's not relax. This is our money. We're trying to raise these chickens. It's so expensive. Prices are going up every day. So each and every chicken that is dropping dead is heartbreaking, especially with layers. I just want to cry, because I think you still owe me so many eggs. Why are you dying? So let's try to be very, very cautious when it comes to how we run our businesses. Be very strict. If umuntu kumele ahambe, you kick them out of your farm if they will not follow your strict rules. If they need to shower first before they go into your chicken coop, take them into the shower. They must wear clean overalls, foot baths, nobody with dreadlocks, and all of that jazz. Okay, guys, love you lots. Good evening.